Part 13. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 121. Chapter 121. Did you really fight with someone? Asterisk. 10 p.m. The huge playground was empty, with almost no people in sight. There were only two petite figures running around the playground. After 3 laps, even though he was as strong as Xiao Mian, he collapsed on the ground from exhaustion and was out of breath. Sweat rolled down his forehead in large beads. The hair and clothes of both of them were wet with sweat from the heat. "Baby, you shouldn't have accompanied me," Zhang Luli panted rapidly, his bright and charming face wet with sweat. She collapsed directly on the lawn, motionless. Xiao Mian lay down next to her, wiped the sweat from her face with her hands, and said with a smile, "If it wasn't to vent my anger, what kind of conflict would you have with them? It's all because of me. How could I leave you behind, one person? Besides, I haven't run for a long time. It's nice to run like this once in a while. Ha ha ha, it's quite refreshing. I'm sweating all over." The two of them lay on the lawn for a while, and then sat up when their breathing slowly calmed down. With a tick sound, Xiao Mian's cell phone rang. She took out her mobile phone from her bag and looked at it. It was Mo Yesi who had sent her a message. "Mo Yesi, has the dormitory been moved? How is the environment of the double suite?" Xiao Mian clicked her finger on the screen and replied, "It hasn't been moved yet." Mo Yesi replied instantly, "Why?" Xiao Mian thought for a while and replied, "Something happened and it was delayed." "Mo Yesi, what's the matter?" Xiao Mian looked at his reply and hesitated whether to tell him what happened just now. Before she could think about it, a hand suddenly came across her eyes and snatched her phone away before she could react. "Goddess, Mian is being bullied, come here and help her vent her anger," Zhang Luli replied to a message by voice. The mobile phone she was holding belonged to Xiao Mian. "Luo, give me your phone back." Xiao Mian reached out to grab it, with a look of helplessness on her face. Zhang Luli gave her the phone directly after replying to the message. She looked at Xiao Mian and said seriously, Mian, you have a boyfriend who is so awesome. Use him when you need it at critical moments. It was not our fault that this matter happened today, but now it has become our fault. The more I think about it, the more angry I get. Why are they the ones who stir up trouble, but we are the ones who get punished in the end? You didn't see the proud expressions on their faces when they left the training office just now. Thinking about it makes me angry. As soon as Xiao Mian got her phone back, Mo Yesi called. "Xiao Mian. He must have listened to the voice message." She glared at Zhang Luli helplessly and pressed connect. "Have you been bullied?" On the other end of the phone, the man's voice was low and cold, with a hint of danger. Xiao Mian was a little embarrassed and didn't know how to answer. Actually, she doesn't seem to have been bullied at all. After all, before the dormitory ant came to break up the fight, she was in the 1v2 and was not afraid at all. "Speak." The man's voice became deeper, and the danger in his words became stronger. Xiao Mian told the truth, "I also beat them, and they were a little bit worse, so they don't count as being bullied." "Did you really fight with someone?" Xiao Mian. She could tell that Mo Yesi's tone was not very good, as if he was angry. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 122. Chapter 122. Do you think I should be angry? For a moment, Xiao Mian didn't know how to reply to him. She couldn't tell what he was thinking at the moment. I don't know if he was angry because of her fight. Think about it, since they got married, she seems to have been causing all kinds of trouble, and every time she has to help her clean up the mess. Could he be angry because he thought she was too troublemaking? Are you angry, Chiao Mian bit her lip and was silent for a while before asking cautiously. If he was really angry with her, she would understand. Think about it from his perspective, if she married a wife who caused him trouble everywhere, she would also feel very annoyed. The man's voice was cold. Not long after we separated, something like this happened. Do you think I should be angry? Chiao Mian squeezed the phone tightly. Sure enough, he thought she was too troublemaking. I'm sorry, she apologized weakly, feeling that she was quite capable of causing trouble. I didn't mean to cause trouble, I know. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted, and the man's cold and voice came again. Baby, I don't mean to blame you. I'm just angry because we just separated not long ago, and you were bullied again. You were when you are bullied, I am not by your side. I said I would protect you and prevent you from suffering any grievance or harm. But I failed. Chiao Mian was stunned for a moment, her eyes widened a little. He was angry. It turned out that he didn't think she was causing too much trouble. But she felt that he failed to protect her well. After a moment of daze, a sweet feeling came to my heart. It has nothing to do with you, Chiao Mian said softly to the man on the other end of the phone who was blaming himself. You can't stay with me 24 hours a day, stare at me and pay attention to me all the time. You can't predict us either. What happens after separation, so how can I blame you? Besides, I really haven't been bullied. I'm a good fighter, so I'm usually the one who bullies others. Chiao Mian regretted it as soon as she finished saying this. Sure enough, a man's low and laughter sounded on the phone. You are very good at fighting, huh? Baby, have you often fought with others before? Chiao Mian. She seemed to have accidentally exposed something. After a moment of silence, the man sighed lowly. Baby, I really want you to stay with me 24 hours a day, so that I can see you all the time. Otherwise, I really don't trust you at all. Asterisk. Hang up the phone. Chiao Mian thought of what Mo Yesi whispered just before hanging up the phone. Her cheeks couldn't stop feeling hot and her ears were a little red. He whispered to her in a low voice, Baby, I really want to hug you and kiss you. Baby is not here, my husband misses you very much. Such a gentle and sultry voice made her heart tingle. Baby, what did the mail say to you? You're blushing like this. Zhang Luli walked up to her with a smile and teased her. Chiao Mian stretched out her hand to push her face away, and said in a low voice, You are so curious, go find one quickly. You will know when the time comes. Forget it. After resting enough, both of them got up from the ground. Zhang Luli patted the dirt on his body and looked like he had seen through the world of mortals. Instead of wasting time falling in love with a dog man, it is better to study how to make money. Apart from making money, I am not interested in other things. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 123. Chapter 123, Why did the counselor become weird? Of course she changed her words and said with a smile, unless I can meet a man as good as the male god. I can also spend some time to talk about love. But, this kind of the possibility is like finding a needle in a haystack, the probability is too small, so I'll just continue to be single. Well, our Luoluo is so outstanding. If he is not an equally outstanding man, how can he be worthy of you? Chiao Mian nodded in agreement. It is better to be single than to be alone until you meet someone you really like. Good. In Chiao Mian's opinion, there are indeed not many men who are worthy of Zhang Luli. Zhang Luli is very beautiful, with a height of 170 centimeters and a particularly good body proportion. She is the kind of glamorous beauty who makes people shine. She and Chiao Mian are of different types. Chiao Mian's beauty is more pure and pure. At first glance, she looks like a little fairy who doesn't eat the fireworks of the world. Zhang Luli is that kind of quirky little fairy. The two of them are beautiful in static ways and beautiful in dynamic ways. They were once dubbed as stunning twins by some boys in the school. Moreover, Zhang Luli is also a very independent girl. Her family background is not very good. Even the tuition fees for the 3 years of college were earned privately. She has an outstanding appearance and has worked as a model for many Dobeo merchants. However, any clothes she models for will sell well. So, she is still well known in the Madao circle, and she has made a lot of money by being a Madao in the past few years. Although he can't make as much money as celebrities, he is still much better than ordinary people. Asterisk. The two rested in the playground for a while and then returned. As soon as he walked outside the dormitory door, he saw a black shadow rushing out very quickly. It shocked both Jiao Mian and Zhang Luli. Before I could see the person clearly, I heard an extremely respectful and cautious voice, "Classmate Jiao, classmate Zhang, you are finally back." Jiao Mian, Zhang Luli. This is the counselor's voice. The two of them looked up and saw that the person standing in front of them with a respectful and anxious expression was their counselor. At this moment, the counselor does not have half of the prestige he had before. His face was full of anxiety, and he was so nervous that his hands were clenched tightly, as if he was not facing two ordinary students, but a superior leader. Jiao Mian and Zhang Luli looked at each other with confused expressions. How is this going? Why is the counselor acting weird? And if they heard correctly, he just used the honorific you to them? Before the two of them could figure out what was going on, the counselor suddenly took a step back and bowed to them. "Classmate Jiao, classmate Zhang, it was my fault before. I shouldn't ignore the difference between right and wrong and treat other students as such. Human mistakes are put on you. After deep reflection and self-examination, I have realized my mistakes. I will never make the same mistake again. Please give me a chance to correct it and forgive me once." After speaking, he bowed deeply to them in the astonished eyes of the two people. The two people continued to be stunned and shocked. What's the matter? How did it become a counselor to apologize and review to them? Seeing that neither of them had any reaction, the counselor became anxious. "Classmate Zhang, classmate Jiao, I really realized my mistake. RSI Bayo, my wife is being bullied, I have to support her." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 124. Chapter 124. If she has the ability, she will threaten me too. If you are not satisfied with my apology, I will go to the playground and run 3 laps, no, 5 laps. Jiao Mian slowly recovered from her shock. She looked at the counselor's extremely uneasy look, and a guess suddenly crossed her mind. She thought of the phone call Moyesi made to her. The counselor's attitude suddenly became so respectful. Did Moyesi do something? Think about it, this is the only possibility. After the counselor finished speaking, he was going to go for a run on the playground. Jiao Mian hurriedly stopped him. "Counselor, wait a moment. Luoluo and I don't blame you. You don't need to apologize to us, let alone go for a run on the playground. In fact, from the position of a counselor, he did nothing wrong. When people in a dormitory fight, it is definitely impossible to deal with only one person. I wrote a review and ran a few laps, etc., but it was not too severe a punishment." Really, the counselor was stunned for a moment, then showed an expression of joy and excitement on his face. He stepped forward and grabbed Jiao Mian's hand. "Classmate Jiao, do you forgive me?" Er. Jiao Mian took her hand out silently. "Counselor, I told you, you didn't do anything wrong. It is indeed our fault and we shouldn't fight in the dormitory." When the counselor heard what she said, his expression changed again. "Do you mean, student Jiao, You still refuse to forgive me. Chiao Mian, no. Then why do you say that? The corners of Chiao Mian's mouth twitched. Okay, I forgive you. It seems that he will continue to be uneasy unless she says the word forgiveness herself. I don't know what Mo Yesi said to scare him like this. Really, student Chiao, have you really forgiven me? Yes, I forgive you. What about Mr. Zhang? Zhang Luli's mouth twitched twice, nodded and said, well, I forgive you too. The counselor immediately looked like he was escaping from death. He put a hand on his chest and let out a long breath. He was so excited that tears almost came to his eyes. Thank you two classmates for your generosity. Chiao Mian. Zhang Luli. Two classmates, please wait a moment. The counselor obtained their forgiveness, finally relaxed, turned around and walked into the dormitory. Chiao Mian heard him say to Bai Xiao and the others, why are you still dazed? Go and apologize to classmates Chiao and Zhang. Why should we apologize? Bai Xiao's angry and aggrieved voice came out, Counselor, this is unfair. You clearly said that Zhang Luli was the main culprit, so why are they right now and become us? Wrong. Zhang Yewei sneered and said, you even have to apologize to the counselors. Some of them are really powerful. Relying on men to show off your power, bullying classmates, even teachers, is really arrogant and domineering. Yes, counselor, have you been threatened by someone? What are you afraid of? Whoever threatened you should expose the person directly. We don't believe it. Can that person be so powerful that he can cover the sky with one hand? Shut up, the counselor said angrily, no one is threatening me, don't talk nonsense. If you are asked to apologize, just apologize. I'm not, Bai Xiao gritted his teeth and said, I'm not afraid. She will threaten me if she can. I also want to know what she can do to us if we don't apologize, Zhang Yewei said coldly, if you have the ability, let the school expel us. Anyway, it's not like she has never done this kind of thing. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 125. Chapter 125, Bitter Sarcasm. You. Counselor Chiao Mian heard this and slowly walked into the dormitory. As soon as she walked in, Bai Xiao and Zhang Yewei looked at her fiercely. The eyes of both of them were full of dissatisfaction and anger. Meeting their gazes, Chiao Mian sighed secretly in her heart. We had been living in the same dormitory for 3 years and had always been in peace. Now it seems that we can't even be ordinary friends. Fortunately, I only have the last half year left in school. In the second half of the year, I will basically leave school and enter the internship period. Moreover, moving out of the dormitory and not living together has also avoided the embarrassment of looking up and not seeing each other every day. They don't need to apologize to us. Let's end this matter. Chiao Mian did not expect Bai Xiao and the others to apologize. Anyway, even if they apologized, they would not be sincere. It doesn't matter whether you apologize or not. Classmate Chiao, do you mean you have forgiven them too? Chiao Mian smiled and said lightly, it's not like I don't forgive them, and they don't need my forgiveness. This matter ends here. Chiao Mian said, if there is nothing else, Luo and I will pack our luggage. Okay, the counselor hoped that this matter would end here, otherwise, he would have to continue to be worried. He immediately nodded and said, then listen to classmate Chiao. Since you still have to pack your luggage, I won't disturb you. By the way, classmate Chiao, do you need any help moving the dormitory? If you have any requests, please feel free to ask. Come out. Chiao Mian smiled politely, thank you, we can handle it ourselves. Okay, then I'll leave first. Come to me if you have any problems, and I'll solve them for you if I can. Okay, thank you counselor. You're welcome, this is what I should do. Asterisk. After the counselor left, Xiao Mian walked past Bai Xiao and the others and began to pack her luggage. Zhang Luli went over to help her clean up. She didn't have many things to begin with, but with help from someone, she packed them up quickly. After the two people packed their luggage, they took the suitcase and prepared to leave. Haha, a sinister sneer rang out. These days, if you have the ability, you might as well find a more capable man. You can get luxury cars, mansions, and even more and better things without putting in any effort. This is no one else can compare with a lifetime of hard work. With a man of status, not only can you make money easily, but even your teachers and classmates must be respectful in front of you. It's no wonder that every pretty woman in this society wants to pass a certain these channels get something for nothing. Yes, who wants to work hard to get something that can be easily obtained by spreading one's legs? It's best to move out, otherwise, if I live in the same dormitory with someone with such an unhealthy outlook on life, I'm worried that my outlook on the world will be ruined. Haha, what are you worrying about? Do you have a beautiful face like that? You are born with a pure and innocent look, and you are born with a look that rich people like. You have wrong views, and among those rich people in the eyes of the young master, he is very pure. The two of them started to speak harshly and sarcastically. The sourness and jealousy in his words were revealed unabashedly. Xiao Mian has already walked to the door. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 126. Chapter 126, You are going to them off. Hearing this, he stopped and turned around slowly. Are you talking about me? She asked in a calm voice with no expression on her face. Her mood was unexpectedly calm. Bai Xiao raised his head and looked at her. There was no fear in his eyes. He sneered and said, say so and so. Ah. Xiao Mian looked at her expressionlessly. She didn't feel any anger in her heart, she just felt funny. Well, what you just said is right. Bai Xiao and Zhang Yue were stunned at the same time and looked at her doubtfully. They scolded her, but she still said it was right. Have you lost your mind? Xiao Mian looked at the two of them like a clown, and continued to say in an indifferent tone, I do have a beautiful face, and I was born with the look that rich people like. Rich people have to like me, but I can't help it. Bai Xiao and Zhang Yue. Zhang Luli behind her. Baby, are you really okay with saying that? You are going to them off to death. It's useless for you to be jealous. Your looks are given by your parents. You are born with them. Even if you rely on your appearance, it is still a kind of ability. Not everyone has such luck and ability. After all, there are only a handful of God's favorites. People like me are destined to marry into a wealthy family and become a wealthy wife. How many wealthy wives have you seen who still need to work their own? Let the men work hard to make money outside. As for me, I only need to be responsible. Just be as beautiful as a flower. Everyone has his own destiny. It's useless if you don't accept it. If you are really jealous, there is actually a way to change your destiny. She paused for a moment, and then said sincerely, plastic surgery can change your destiny. You can also look like rich people, and even if your life is not as good as mine, it will still be no problem to marry a man with a little money. Come on, I believe you can do it. After speaking, she clenched her fists and made a cheering gesture towards them. The faces of Bai Xiao and Zhang Yue suddenly turned as dark as if they had touched the ashes at the bottom of a pot. Zhang Luli laughed so hard that tears came out. She just realized that her baby's mouth was too damaged. Without any curse words, Bai Xiao and the others were so angry that their noses and eyes were crooked. This is probably the highest level of swearing. She had never seen Xiao Mian hurt anyone like this before. It turns out that it's not that she won't hurt others, it's just that she hasn't met anyone who makes her want to do so. So Bai Xiao and Zhang Yue deserve it, who made them have bad mouth first. Looking at them looking so angry that they were about to vomit blood, Zhang Luli felt so happy. Ha! Another chuckle sounded from behind the two of them. When the man's deep and laughter reached his ears, Xiao Mian was startled for a moment, then opened her eyes wide and turned around slowly. The lights in the corridor are dim. The man was dressed in black clothes and black trousers, standing quietly behind her in the cool night sky. His deep brows and slightly pursed thin lips were covered with a faint warm halo, and his facial features were exquisite and beautiful, making him look like a real person. Especially when those deep eyes that could enchant people stared at her tenderly, Xiao Mian felt that her soul had been taken away by him. He is like a demon that suddenly appears from the dark night, carrying fatal danger and fatal temptation all over his body. Wearing all black, he has an air of asceticism. Recommend my good friend Ling's super sweet article Hidden Marriage is Sweet, President, I love you so much. Don't miss it if you pass by. Introduction, I have already taken off my pants. Is it inappropriate to say stop now? Everyone knows that the cold and dignified Mr. Li is sick. Only Rong Yan knows that he is sick. That day, she was blocked at the door of the bedroom. He put his long arm over her domineeringly, rubbing his ears and temples together, marry me. Rongjian struggled to no avail and said helplessly, I have a boyfriend. We have been dating for 5 years. The boyfriend you are talking about is my son. For the sake of her baby son, she secretly married a billionaire CEO. From then on, when she killed someone, he handed him the knife. She sets the fire, he adds fuel. Everyone knows that the CEO is a possessive and paranoid man. There is only one bottom line, it's called appearance. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 127. Chapter 127. She was born to be a rich wife. At first sight of such a visually stunning beauty, Zhang Luli was stunned. Xiao Mian also looked blank, staring at him without blinking. Mo Yesi? Him, why did he come? On the phone just now, he didn't say he was coming. Looking at the cute girl staring blankly at him with her head raised, Mo Yesi curled his lips, took a step forward, stretched out his hand and pulled her into his arms. The man's strong arms circled her slender and soft waist, his thin lips gently raised, and he whispered softly, are you so happy to see me? Xiao Mian. Her heartbeat accelerated uncontrollably. She blinked, stared at his overly handsome face for a few seconds, and blinked again. Why are you here? Miss you. The man's two direct words made her cheeks feel slightly hot. They have only been separated for less than an hour. As if he guessed what she was thinking, Mo Yesi gave a low laugh, his big hand fell on the top of her head and rubbed it gently. Baby, you have to understand, a man who is in love, even if he is separated from you, I can't bear to give it up even for a few minutes. Xiao Mian felt her heart beating faster. Thinking that Zhang Luli had heard these words, her face became hotter. The sour smell of love did not make Zhang Luli jealous beyond recognition. Instead, she had an ant's smile on her face. The expression of relief and excitement on his face made Xiao Mian's mouth twitch. Why do you feel that Zhang Luli seems to be more excited than she is when she is in love? Wow, my God, are you here to help Mian move things? Mian is so happy to have such a considerate and caring boyfriend like you. What Zhang Luli said at the top of his voice was heard by both people in the dormitory. They naturally saw Mo Yesi standing at the door. A man's outstanding appearance and noble temperament are enough to make any woman's heart flutter. Bai Xiao only took one look, and his heart beat faster. When she saw Xiao Mian nestling in the man's arms, she gritted her teeth and showed jealousy in her eyes. How come such an outstanding man likes a green tea scheming frame like Xiao Mian? Are they men so superficial that they only like good-looking ones and don't care about inner beauty? Just when Bai Xiaozhen was looking at Xiao Mian with a jealous look on his face, Mo Yesi turned his head and his indifferent and cold eyes fell on her face that became a little ugly due to jealousy. Bai Xiao met his eyes, and her heart skipped several beats. The man's eyes are really beautiful. When Bai Xiao looked at her, he instantly felt like he was in love. At this moment, she wished that the woman leaning in his arms was her and not Xiao Mian. That embrace looks very warm and safe. The feeling of being held in his arms must be sweet and beautiful. Just as she thought this, she saw the handsome and noble man walking into the bedroom with Xiao Mian in his arms. The eyes that looked at her were extremely cold, with no trace of warmth in them. "Did you hear clearly what my baby just said?" Bai Xiao was stunned for a moment. "Sir." Mo Yesi interrupted her in disgust, "My baby is right, she was born to marry into a rich family and become a rich wife. With this face, she is destined to get everything she wants without any effort. Need." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 128. Chapter 128. Keep your mouths shut from now on. If you are jealous of her because of this, you can only admit it. Fate is unfair to everyone. Bai Xiao's face instantly turned ugly. Have he heard all those words just now? After hearing what Xiao Mian said, not only was he not angry, he actually defended her. "Sir, is a woman's appearance so important to you men?" Bai Xiao was a little excited. "As long as you have a good-looking face, it can beat everything? I thought you were different from other men. I didn't expect you to be so superficial." Superficial? Mo Yesi narrowed his eyes and sneered at the corners of his lips. "Who are you? How much do you know about me, and you think that I am different from other men? Also, do you think your opinion is important?" He looked at Bai Xiao with undisguised disgust. "A woman's appearance is indeed not the most important thing. But a woman like you who is ugly both in appearance and mind will be off-putting to any man." Bai Xiao opened his eyes wide, feeling deeply humiliated. Her face turned red instantly and she became angry. "You." As soon as he said a word, he was shocked by the cold look in the man's eyes. The cold and sharp eyes pressed down, and she felt the powerful pressure that made people breathless. A sense of fear suddenly emerged, and a coldness spread all over her body. She was so frightened that she did not dare to say a word. He clearly said nothing and did nothing. But just one look is enough to make people frightened. Under the pressure of such a powerful aura, Bai Xiao's body even trembled uncontrollably. Mo Yesi didn't want to waste time on these meaningless people. His cold gaze glanced at Zhang Yue again, with threats and warnings in his eyes. Word by word, he said coldly, "Watch your mouth from now on, and let me hear anything that slanders my baby. It's not just a warning, it's easy. If you want to graduate early, you can try not to take my words seriously." The last sentence made both Bai Xiao and Zhang Yue show fear in their eyes. How could they not know what Mo Yesi meant by graduating early? Since he can let Shen Yuiyu and Zhao Wanting graduate early, he can also let them graduate early. While the two of them were afraid, their resentment towards Xiao Mian also deepened. Asterisk. The new double bedroom is in another building. Even in the same school, students are treated differently. Most of those who live in double dormitories have good conditions at home. After all, the accommodation fee for one semester is nearly 100,000, and not every student's family can afford it. The double bedroom is a standard two-bedroom apartment with 2 bedrooms, a living room and a dining room. The best thing is that each bedroom has its own bathroom. And all kinds of furniture and appliances are available inside. Wow, is this our new dormitory? Zhang Luli's eyes were so bright that they were shining, and he said excitedly, "This is great. Baby, tell me, Can we really live here in the future? Sure. It was Moyesi who answered her. The man was holding the suitcase in one hand and holding Chiao Mianmian's waist with the other hand. He looked around and said with a little disgust, "The best dormitory in your school has such conditions." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 129. Chapter 129. Not compromising at all. Although it is not satisfactory, it is still passable. Just settle down for now. I won't give in, not at all. Zhang Luli dragged the suitcase towards the slightly smaller bedroom and said wisely, "I'm going to pack my luggage, and I'll take a shower and go to bed soon. I won't come out of the bedroom." "Well, baby, you and your boyfriend can do whatever you want, you can pretend that I don't exist." After saying that, he dragged the box into the bedroom and closed the door with a bang. Chiao Mian. Zhang Luli is a little bastard. What does it mean to just do whatever you want to do? She doesn't want to do anything at all. I heard the man chuckle in my ears. The laughter was sultry. She is sensible and knows how to think about us. Chiao Mian raised her head and met the man's deep and dark eyes. Her face heated up and she bit her lip and said, "Ignore her." Moyesi said nothing and looked at her with a half smile. Chiao Mianmian's face became even hotter. A slight blush appeared on the girl's fair and delicate face. She took a deep breath nervously, stretched out her hand to push him gently, and snatched the suitcase from his hand. "Well, I'll go pack my luggage too." After saying that, he walked into the bedroom with his suitcase. Looking at her almost running away, Moyesi curled his lips and followed her leisurely. He does not need to be impatient for prey that is already inevitable. Good things are worth waiting for. Asterisk. As soon as Chiao Mian walked into the bedroom, she saw the big and wide bed. Her bedroom is the master bedroom, which is relatively large and contains a double bed. She didn't know what she was thinking of, but she blushed and her heart beat. Seeing her standing in front of the big bed in a daze, Moyesi chuckled lightly, walked behind her, stretched out his hand and gently hugged her into his arms. The man's arms were strong and strong. After hugging her, he tightly held her in his arms. His back was pressed against his hot chest, like a ball of fire, which made Chiao Mian feel flustered for a while. "Baby." Moyesi lowered his head, his hot breath fell on her ear, and his voice was sultry. "I'm not leaving tonight, so I'll just stay here for one night, okay?" The dormitory she lived in before was a 6-person dormitory. Many things are inevitably inconvenient. Now that he has moved to this double dormitory and has a separate bedroom, Moyesi will naturally not leave his beautiful wife behind and go back to sleep alone. Chiao Mianmian's heartbeat was like a drum, and her face was very hot. "No, it can't be done. Our school cannot allow outsiders to stay overnight." She was extremely nervous when she heard him say he would stay tonight. Although the two had already slept together one night, she was asleep that night and didn't know anything. Now, for her to sleep in the same bed with him, fully awake. Just thinking about it made her feel so shy. She felt like she wasn't ready yet. Haven't completely accepted his so-called new husband from the bottom of my heart. I say yes, that's all. The man's wet and hot lips pressed against her small red earlobes, causing her to tremble. He whispered in her ear, "Baby, let me stay. Don't be nervous, I won't do anything to you. I promised you that I would give you a week to adapt, and I won't break my promise. I just want to hold you. If you sleep with me, I won't have insomnia again. Happy weekend everyone. I secretly got married to a super boss." Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 130. Chapter 130 Act like a baby with her. I didn't sleep well during the few days you were away. Insomnia is really painful. Do you have the heart to let me continue to suffer from insomnia? Do you have the heart to continue to see me suffer? Huh, when the man spoke, his warm breath then he blew it into her ears, and the deep and hoarse voice was extremely and sultry. Chiao Mian suddenly felt that this man was acting coquettishly with her. Although he didn't have a coquettish tone, but was flirting with her in different ways from beginning to end, Chiao Mian still felt like this. Being coquettish and pitiful. Just because I want to stay here for one night. To put it more bluntly, just because I want to sleep with her. Thinking of this, Chiao Mian's fair and tender face added a few touches of scarlet color, and she blushed hard. Although when he said sleeping, he just meant simply sleeping with her. But she still felt so shy. Her heartbeat was so fast. What does it have to do with me if you lose, or not have insomnia? Of course it does matter. Moyesi tightened his hand around her waist and used a slight force to pull her body towards him. The man lowered his head, raised her chin with one hand, looked into her eyes with his deep and burning eyes, and had a charming smile on his lips. If I sleep with you, I won't have insomnia. Holding you that night, you are sweet, soft, and so comfortable to hold in my arms. Baby, I want to sleep with you in my arms tonight. As he spoke, the man's eyes became more and more scorching, as if a fire was burning. His dark eyes were astonishingly bright as reflected by the fire in his eyes. Chiao Mian saw her nervous and panic look in his bright eyes. The man's handsome face enlarged inch by inch before her eyes, and his hot breath fell. Moyesi. She called out his name in a panic. Baby, call me husband. The hot and thin lips pressed down. Moyesi kissed her deeply and hard. His kisses as domineering as his person, with a deep possessiveness. The girl in her arms was fragrant and soft, smelling like a delicious meal. A delicious meal that belongs only to him. Even though Moyesi really wanted to swallow this delicious meal, he knew that now was not the best time. He has to wait patiently. He hopes that the little thing in his arms is willing. That kind of thing is a wonderful experience, but if it becomes forced, what's the point? As proud as he is, he doesn't bother to force a woman. He gave her 7 days because he was confident that she would be willing to give it to him when the time comes. Because she couldn't breathe, her face turned red from holding back. Well, she didn't want to be the heroine in the weird news about being suffocated to death because of kissing. When she felt that she was about to faint, she reached out and pushed away the man who was still kissing her deeply. Fresh air penetrates between the lips and teeth. Chiao Mian immediately took a deep breath, her chest rising and falling violently. She took deep breaths 4 or 5 times before she felt like she was alive again. The little face, which was red due to lack of oxygen, gradually returned to its normal color. End of this chapter.